Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Leo energy. And we're going to get the cards out and then we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because people are kind of at different emotional maturity levels in their Leo nature within themselves. High vibe Leo is having learned to love yourself, kind of tempered your more immature egoic nature of shadowy Leo, to love and believe in yourself, and that can take decades, and some people are further along that journey than others. Some people never really have had an interest in going on that journey, and in shadowy Leo it can just be, I just want to be more about me. I'm really caught up in these things of the world, and I think that's the most important thing. I don't think there's no reason for me to free myself from being more about me or these things of the world, and other people kind of have been illuminated to the truth that if they want to be in more authentic, just, fair, balanced, loving relationships, they need to grow up. They need to temper their ego nature of being more about themselves or looking to these things of the world to be the answer and realize love makes it all worthwhile. Now, love is to be just and fair, you know, um, balance in our life. We can be a loving person, but, we still live in the world. We need stability and security, and we also have our creative, inspired nature and our truth. And if we love things or love other people, we could kind of compromise some of those other things. And it's kind of like letting your heart run your life, or letting your ego run your life, or your fear, or your lust, or your greed. And it's about trying to learn lessons in life to temper our ego. Leo is represented by the Strength card. To temper our more immature, worldly, beastly nature, because we do have a more high vibrational nature to us, and to find balance within ourselves and balance in our relationships. And again, being illuminated to the truth that love is to be just and fair. And for one, if you're going to get in a romantic relationship, it should be because of love, not for all these other reasons, like it's just more about me and how it benefits me. Okay, so let's go see what's going on in Leo energy. We start out with the Seven of Cups, and the reason is because of the Five of Cups. So, the Seven of Cups can talk about, and the Five of Pentacles can talk about, we're initially over here, we also have the fire sign energy of the King of Wands, and then we have the Seven of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles. The Pentacles can talk that we're really inspired a lot by these things of the world. Are we willing to sacrifice more deep, meaningful relationships in order to have those things of the world? The Seven of Cups is Scorpio energy, which in high vibe is about deep, meaningful relationships and connecting in with ourselves emotionally. And we do have, we're incredibly emotionally complex human beings. Are we going to get to know ourselves? That's like high vibe Virgo. To be in touch with ourselves. And just in another reading I did, I'd never really thought of the Five of Pentacles this way, but maybe it's because of the artwork on the Five of Pentacles. In High Vibe, the Five of Pentacles, like the Seven of Pentacles, is Taurus energy. Is our philosophy of life that we are willing to learn lessons in life. That's High Vibe Virgo. That, we're learning these lessons in life. We go through these different stages, and it's all to try to help us get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. And that's what Virgo energy is about. Is it being more caught up in the illusion of the world is what the Seven of Cups can talk about? I'm sure all those things about the world, other than love, are going to make me happy. Then on our Virgo nature and our Taurus philosophy of life, we would probably be a little bit more about ourselves, because Aries energy is about the self, and more caught up in the illusion of the world and ourself. I think it's more about me. I think it's more about these things of the world. And some people, the truth is, they don't want to do deep, meaningful relationships and kind of could use their emotional nature or their sexual nature or their worldly nature to use all those resources they've been given to kind of manipulate people to get what they want. Well, there's going to be people like that in the world who are more shadowy. There's going to be other people in the world who kind of feel left out in the cold in that type of friendship dynamic, workplace dynamic, relationship dynamics. You know, it can have all these things of the world. It can look like really stable and abundant and victorious and successful in some ways. But do I love that job? Do I love these people? Do they love me? Why are we in it? Is it more? It just has to be more about me. I'm sure I'll be happy if it's just more about me. Or I'm sure I'll be happy if I have all these things. Or I'm sure I'll be happy if I indulge in all these things. Other people maybe have a little more life experience. They already went and indulged in those things and made those things really important in their life at some stage of their life. And they realized that things weren't the answer, it wasn't the truth. And they went on this journey. Virgo kind of talks about doing this inner work to look at those things. The Seven of Cups can kind of be, I'm confused. I moved forward with something that I thought was going to make me happy. I could have done this. I could have done that. I invested all my time, energy, and effort. And I'm hanging out with these people. I'm doing this. Why isn't it making me happy the way I thought it was going to? Why doesn't it feel from the Five of Pentacles to like the 7 and 8 feel more abundant? Because some of the things that people are adding to their life are just more things. To have a more balanced life would be, I have a mix of these things of the world, and I have a mix of these things that appeal to my more emotionally intuitive and creative nature. And together, I feel like I'm moving forward in life. I'm growing and healing and maturing myself. I do, hopefully, I'm investing in jobs and people and relationships that I like and I enjoy. And, you know, hopefully in High Vibe King of Wands, it keeps inspiring me to keep moving forward, maintaining this type of balance within myself between my worldly nature and my emotional nature, because they're equally important. And that's what some people are doing. Some other people are still sure it was more about them or more about these things they indulge in or whatever. They're sure that's going to make them happy. So the Five of Pentacles high vibe could be everybody could be moving forward. Some things in our life didn't work out, you know, the way we wanted maybe. Um, we all go through phases of life where we had certain ways of being and doing things in the Four of Pentacles, but then some of the people were on the same page as us and are moving forward with us, and some people aren't. We can be confused about why some people, why aren't they still working together with us? Why don't they want to move forward? And everybody's at different places, and they could be happy still living their life the way they want to live it. You could have been kind of ready to move forward and face some of your fears and keep learning these lessons, keep being inspired within yourself. And other people are like, why do that? I'm happy here. Let's keep doing this. And sometimes other people moved on from us. Sometimes we moved on from other people. And then we're kind of moving forward, trying to find other people who could be on the same page as us currently, right? So then we have the Five of Wands, the Star card, and the Ace of Wands. And the reason is because of the Knight of Pentacles, which is Virgo energy. When some things didn't work out the way we wanted, and they moved on, we moved on, even though we might still have people in our life that are moving forward with us, the Five of Wands can talk about that we still have some inner conflict about it, and the Five of Wands is Leo energy, so we could be a little bit in our ego. You know, it's kind of natural. If there was people that we wanted to have keep moving forward with us, thinking we were kind of inspired by the same things, that, you know, we kind of had an Aquarius energy of the Star card, the same kind of dream, kind of maybe thought you know, we were kind of inspired to keep moving forward and maybe bring a dream into reality. And the five plus the one wand would make the six of wands, where, we thought we'd keep moving forward, being inspired by the same truth and by the same things that inspired us. Well, we can do that for a while with people, and for some people, quite a long time, you know? And part of it is because there's enough things in common that we still kind of have this common goal and way of looking at life and kind of inspired by those same things. But eventually, as we go in the story, it'll probably explain how that worked out and then why some of those didn't keep moving forward. So then we have the Two of Cups, the Six of Swords, which is also Aquarius energy, the Fool card, and the Knight of Swords. And the reason is because of the Four of Cups. So anything we move forward in now, in the past, in the future, we can start jobs, friendships, and relationships, move forward with current friendships, jobs, and relationships, motivated and inspired, attracted, or whatever. And we move forward, we kind of on the same page at the same time. Well, there can always come a point in a relationship where, one person in the Fool and the Knight of Swords could be ready to move forward again a little differently again. The fives can talk about kind of challenging times, like, or a transition point, like say we start dating someone. Well, it's kind of to get to know them. And then if we kind of think, I think we're kind of on the same page, have some same dreams, then we might invest in a more mature relationship, going from the Five of Pentacles to the Knight of Pentacles. But then we can do that, and we're moving forward. We have the Two of Cups. Looks like everything's moving forward. In the Four of Cups, kind of have maybe worked through some regrets of the past. The Seven of Cups down to the Two can be working through regrets of the past, and the Seven down to the Four is letting go of the Three, kind of moving on from some other friendships and relationships. And also the Seven of Cups can be that we kind of, looking at other people to see if we think there's someone we want to be more of a friendship or relationship with. And it's kind of considered like someone seems like they seem to be on the same page as you, like an option, right? And then as we kind of move forward in those relationships, hopefully we let go of some of those other options, right? And we kind of get in different friendships and relationships where it's like, no, these kind of seem to be the people that it kind of seems like we're more compatible than we could have been more compatible with some other people. But then the relationship has to move forward. They keep moving forward, right? And, we keep going like this phase to that phase to that phase. And we keep kind of learning more things. Well, if we add the one sword to the Six of Swords, then we have the Seven of Swords. And that's like another transition period. The fives and the sevens are kind of those challenging times in relationships, kind of like, are we still on the same page? Are we going to kind of take that leap of faith to keep moving forward? And here we have the Star card, Aquarius. Here we have Aquarius. And if we add the one sword to it, it's still Aquarius in the Seven of Swords. But it's kind of working through, just continuing to move things forward. Are we still on the same page? The Four of Cups can talk about, are we continuing to invest in it emotionally, take that cup of love, offer that cup of love, they offer us a cup of love, we take it, we offer them a cup of love, they take it. But in shadow, the Knight of Swords can be, some people might want to keep moving forward in it, but they might be kind of defensive to taking that cup of love. So that can be in a more shadowy fire sign energy. Here we had the Ace of Wands, which can represent all three of the fire sign energies, Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. I view the King of Wands as Aries, which Aries energy is about the self. Sometimes we can move forward in friendships or relationships, and we work through those any challenges and difficulties and keep focused on the big picture, enjoy each other's company or friendship or job, and we keep moving forward until we could kind of realize that someone could be a little defensive to taking that leap of faith. They might want to keep staying in it, just like an employee might want to stay in a job. But if you kind of feel like, I don't think you really like this job, you know, is it good for your ego and your image and your status and you want to stay in it? Yeah, but I think it's more about how it benefits you. Well, we can be in friendships and relationships that initially could have seemed more just, more fair, more balanced, like we were working more cooperatively together. But then at any time in a situation, people are either motivated to keep kind of standing up and defending it and being inspired to keep putting work and effort into it, or people could decide, no, I'm good here. I don't really want to do that. And they want to stay here, maybe in this energy longer. And some other people are like, why have we stopped? Why aren't we continuing to move forward? And the Five of Pentacles again can talk about moving forward, and the five plus the one in the Six of Wands talks about moving forward to invest in this dream. Well, and then we might kind of find out as time goes by that one person could be someone who kind of looks at life from a higher perspective, and maybe the other person doesn't in their Aquarius energy. Maybe one person likes being in a relationship, could kind of be kind of a loving and encouraging or inspiring person to even be in a relationship with. But again, it's kind of like, let's just keep moving forward like this. From the Five of Pentacles to the Seven of Pentacles is the Two of Pentacles, and the Two of Pentacles is kind of like, I might have picked up my investment in some old ways of being to kind of move forward in this, but I could still kind of be going back and forth about, is this my truth? Isn't this my truth? How much work and effort am I going to have to put into this? Can I just keep doing this? Or do I really have to put in work and effort? you know? And it can be the difference. Some people are motivated. Fire sign energy can be about your motivation, your inspiration, are motivated and inspired within themselves to put in work and effort to keep growing and healing and maturing themselves, work through their lack mentality, work through their emotional confusion, work through their ego, work through their competitive nature, their prideful nature, their stubborn nature, their bossy nature, love themselves, and maybe the other people could like to be in a relationship with people who are like that. But they're not really inspired within themselves. And Taurus energy can talk about this philosophy of life that we have and how we view life, and kind of, even, do I want to put in work and effort? The truth sets us free to keep growing and healing and maturing ourselves and facing our fears, but then we have to do this work within ourselves to work through our inner conflict about loving and believing in ourselves and looking at life from a higher perspective, and willing to get out of our more defensive nature or egoic nature or getting up in our head, or all these different things that could manipulate us. And some people are inspired within themselves when they go through those periods within themselves. They are inspired within themselves, like, why do I feel like this? I feel kind of confused. I feel a little left out in the cold. I feel like I have some inner conflict. I feel unloved. Well, they don't just blame the other people they're in a relationship, because it could be everybody else. Everybody could be loving and encouraging and supportive to people, and people can still feel that way, right? And that's because Virgo kind of talks about these things within ourself. Some people have a philosophy of life. I'm always going to be left out in the cold. We will kind of prove ourselves true. And people who are like, I get in these relationships and I think my dreams are going to come into reality, and then it never works out and I get left out in the cold. Those people could get in relationships with people who are very loving and encouraging and supportive of them. But we will prove ourselves true. If that is our truth, no, no, no. No, I always get left out in the cold. People always get defensive, or people always want to get in a relationship with someone else, or and maybe those things have happened before where people are more bossy or controlling or more unjust or unfair or unloving. And, again, anybody can wear a false mask and they can present themselves as being a more just and fair and loving and encouraging person. But everybody has to keep putting in this work within themselves to keep being inspired, to keep moving forward, maintaining balance within themselves, being just and fair, treating other people the way they like to be treated. And at any point in time in the Fool card, which is kind of Aries and Aquarius and some Pisces, people can decide, maybe because of issues within themselves and some philosophy of life that they have, that, I don't know, I don't really think this is fair. I think it should be more about me. Or, they could have felt unloved or rejected or emotionally confused, but maybe they didn't do the work within themselves to figure out what it was, to work through it within themselves. And maybe even, in High Vibe, the Knight of Pentacles is about truth and love, and, and the wands and the swords can be about communicating. I mean, we could go through a slump, we don't really know why. Are we willing to communicate that to people in our life? That, there is nothing that I can even see as to what it is. I just feel, in this mood, right? Well, if we were to be willing to deal with that truth either with ourselves or communicate it to other people, we could have other people in our life who would be willing to work with us to help us work through it. But, if we don't communicate that truth, then the other people don't know. And then we could be feeling that way. And then, kind of because we feel that way, and if we kind of think, well, those people should know I feel this way, you know, maybe because I've been acting like this or I've been doing that. Well, again, people don't know why. You have to know your own reasons of why you do what you do. Sometimes, people act a certain way and we don't really know why are they acting that way. It could come across like they seem disinterested, they seem sad, and then the other people could think, are they disinterested and sad because they're in a relationship with me? But it might not be the job or the friendship or the relationship. It can just be something within them that they need to work through. And it kind of makes me think of some people who, a more shadowy energy, which can kind of be the Seven of Cups, is they kind of have these illusions about relationships. Like, shadowy energy can be that you haven't been in High Vibe Leo and High Vibe Virgo illuminated to the truth that the Seven of Pentacles can talk about investing. You need to learn to invest in yourself. But shadowy energy can be people who are more codependent and they haven't been illuminated to that truth yet. So they could look to go get in relationships with people and invest in a relationship. Like, that's the answer. Just like some people could look to drugs or alcohol or gambling or whatever to make them feel better, or if they had this or that, they'd be happy. Well, some people, their vice is to get in relationships with people because that can be more codependent energy. And I'm looking to get And I think we've all been a more codependent energy. Like I say, I view high vibe Leo as kind of like learning to love yourself. That can take decades of your life, the first 30 to 50 years of your life. And we'll kind of go on this journey of looking to get maybe in friendship or relationship or indulge in these things of the world, thinking that's the answer. And we go do that. And then it's kind of like we keep doing that pattern because we think that's the truth. And as time goes by, we can kind of feel confused and feel left out in the cold and have this inner conflict that I thought this was supposed to make me happy. This was supposed to be the answer. This was supposed to be the answer to my dreams. But again, we could have been looking outside of ourselves to things and other people to make us feel that way. But to truly feel more inspired within yourself and stable within yourself is for you to learn to love and believe in yourself and quit being in that more codependent energy. When you are in that more codependent energy, there's going to be other people in the world that are looking to get in relationship with people like that. And if you are a loving and encouraging person, there's going to be other people who are more codependent looking to get in a relationship with you for you to make them feel better. But the problem is, if you're abundant, the pentacles can talk about your unique gifts, talents, skills, and interests. You could be more stable, more balanced than some other people, more mature than other people, more hopeful and believing in yourself and in your dreams and in love and aligned with your more loving nature. And other people who that's not the truth of who they are can want to be in a relationship with you for you to offer them that cup of love to make them feel better. But the problem is it can move forward in a relationship, but they still didn't deal with some of these issues within themselves. And it could be dealing with some issues in their past where other people, they could have felt rejected them or didn't think they were good enough or something, where they kind of were in their ego about why other people didn't want to be in friendship or relationship with them. Again, maybe haven't learned to love themselves. And some people are just getting in relationships with people to try to look like a more stable, grounded, balanced, mature, loving person, but they're still in their ego about other people in their life who maybe weren't just or fair or loving or appreciate them. They could get in a relationship to feel more stable and grounded within themselves. And then it's like, yeah, you can go. Now I'm going to go try to get some of these people of the world that might have a certain status or image, or some of the people who rejected me before, to now I think they could view me differently. Now I'm going to try to get those people to value me again. And that's where some people, it's like feeding off of other people to feel better. And then that can be shadowy, kind of like using other people, indulging in a relationship so I can heal, so I can feel better within myself, feel more stable and grounded. And then you weren't really aligned with my truth, and I'm going to go try to find someone else who is more aligned with my truth. Or, sometimes during the course of a relationship, we both could become more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. And some people could have had the best of intentions. And then when they move forward in a relationship, it's like, eh, this kind of keeps requiring me to keep putting in this work, and, just kind of willing to put in work and effort to bring that dream into reality. And it isn't kind of more about me and just more about what I want. And then they could decide, I don't want to keep putting work and effort into that. Maybe if I go get in a relationship with someone else, those people would require me to put in less work and effort. And that's the thing is like, it's one thing for people to learn these lessons Oh, yeah, that's not my truth. Yeah, I don't want to put in more work and effort. I thought I would do love, but I guess I really don't want to do love because I'm kind of defensive to love. I get hurt doing love. I don't want to work through my issues to do love. So I would rather kind of be more about myself or the world or me or indulge in relationships. Once they know that truth about themselves, then it is kind of a different ball game because then they know that they are more aligned with their kind of more self-protective, defensive, have come to realize that when the opportunity was there for them to put in work and effort to kind of work through these issues that manipulate them or their fear or their insecurity or their immaturity or whatever, that they didn't. Now when they go out to go get in another relationship, uh, I just think it's a little more shadowy because they create the illusion they're kind of willing to bring this dream into reality, and they know that's not the truth of who they are. I will go this far in every job, in every relationship or friendship I have. But, you know, it's just that people probably aren't going to tell people right up front, oh, by the way, shadowy energy is creating this illusion. I'm going to create the illusion that that's my truth because I don't really know if the relationship's going to last or not. But then it's a problem if the relationship keeps working because then it's like, oh shit, this person again wants me to work through some of these issues that I don't want to work through, or they want me to be more motivated and inspired by love when I knew from the beginning I really am kind of defensive to love. I would rather hide in my Leo nature within myself behind my self protective, defensive, egoic nature. And I don't really let my more hopeful, believing, loving nature out to play. I don't take that cup of love. I might not even believe in love. I might think that's just a way for people to manipulate people. And I might like to live more from my mind than my heart to protect myself. And then they go get in another relationship, and some of those people did, and the people want to move forward in it. They created the illusion. That's what they were. That was their truth. And then it's like, well, that's not really my truth. Can we do this? Can we just stay here? And that's when some of the people are like, no, it could be like, say, even an employer could kind of hire people like, oh, yeah, there's lots of opportunity here and blah, 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 blah. And people go take the job, and then it's like, oh, shit. You like aren't really a good employee and you keep staying. And, it maybe would take X number of years for people to kind of learn everything they needed to learn. And they did learn probably, hopefully, some good things along the way. But then it's like, yeah, no. Maybe a little bit because of their ego. I have a problem sharing information. And I might like you working here, and I might like the job you've done. It could even be like a dream come true that you're working here. But can we just keep doing this? And it's not really going to move forward the way you want. Kind of the impression we gave isn't really going to happen. Won't you just stay here? But there too, if you're planning to learn more things and work your way up, you were hoping to make more money. And then they created that illusion, maybe, and then you feel like that's not going to happen. But if the other people were putting in work and effort, like in good faith, just like if you're in a relationship and you put in work and effort in good faith, you know that you can be proud of yourself. That you did act in high vibe Taurus with character and integrity. You did heal and grow and mature yourself. And again, sometimes during relationships, we are helping each other maybe heal from some issues, but then we get to that next stage in the relationship, and is this still your truth? Do you want to keep moving forward? And some people, it is in goodwill and good faith. I kind of had the hope and faith that it would all work out, but maybe as time has gone by, you know, maybe you feel some people are a little more defensive, maybe do seem to be a little more caught up in it for things of the world, maybe take some foolish risks in a relationship, maybe aren't very loving, could be a little, you could start to see that maybe they seem to be a little full of themselves. Um, there's just things we kind of get to know people. We don't get to know everything about someone. It takes time. And then again, the fact that at any time in a relationship, people can decide, yep, no, I'm done. I don't want to keep putting in work and effort. I'm okay with it being the way it is, but it's kind of like I don't want to give birth to anything new. That would require, it's one thing to heal maybe some past pain and heartbreak, work through some inner conflict or competitive energy, but to really do some work within yourself to kind of really just maybe look at life differently and just be less inspired more by these things of the world and be more inspired to have that more hopeful believing nature. And some people are like, what, why, we should just keep doing this. And that's when some people don't want to stay in it. So we've all got growing up and maturing to do. We all can get caught up in ourself and our illusions, and we all can at different stages of our life been more defensive, been more immature, been more stubborn. Um, and some of those relationships didn't work out. Some of them won't work out. But I think the main thing would be we have Earth sign energy and the Four of Cups, which is Cancer energy, which can talk about what we love, you know? And fire sign energy can be kind of what drives and motivates us. And with some people, we can realize that the big distinguishing difference is some people love being in a relationship where it is more about them or it is more about these things of the world or them being indulged at a core foundational level of emotionally their idea of life and what they kind of think is just and fair. And other people at a core foundational truth are more motivated and inspired to want to be in deep, meaningful relationships based on love. And those are kind of two different viewpoints and ways of viewing life and why people get in relationships, why they want people to get in a relationship with them and stay in a relationship with them. And if some people are like, well, you should just want because of me and my status or my image, you should stay in a relationship with me, male or female. Some other people could be like, I'm not as I might have been caught up in the illusion about you at one time, but it's kind of faded over time. You know, I'm less about making you the center of my universe, and I would maybe want to stay in the relationship, but it just has to be more just and fair and balanced. And that's when the other people could not like that. If you used to be caught up in the illusion of who they are, but because of maybe some things that they did, it's like, and even having hope and faith and belief, the fives talk about change. Sometimes we can get in relationships with people and we could hope that they would change, if it is to grow up, if it is to get out of their defensive nature or being immature or being more motivated by the world. You can hope they can change. And if people get in a relationship with you and they know they're more about themselves or these things of the world and they know you're more about love, they could hope you'd change. And if they can, shadowy people could hope if they get people to move forward in a relationship with them. And that's what some people are trying to do. Like, come on. Some shadowy people are like, I want to be in a relationship for my own reasons, not really love, but I will create the illusion it's love to try to get someone to move forward with them and take that leap of faith to invest in them and have this new beginning. Hoping if they get them in it, then even as time goes by, and maybe the people kind of start to see through the illusion, I don't think you're really motivated and inspired by love. I think it's more being in a relationship to be in a relationship, the status, the ego, the image, and to indulge in it. But I don't really think it's love. And I kind of feel left out in the cold in this relationship, and I kind of feel like I'm missing an opportunity in love because I don't really think that's what drives and motivates you. And then the shadowy people will become defensive to you. You'll kind of become defensive to them. Everybody will be standing up for their philosophy of life and their truth. And just like you could want to move on from them, they kind of want to move on from you. Because if you're not, you know, if you're not willing to stay in it for those reasons and you want them to change and that's not their truth, they want to be in a relationship with people who are more like them and you want to be in a relationship with people who are more like you. So some people are going through that right now. Other people have already been through it. And then it's to kind of transmute the energy. They completed that with those people. Some of the people in their life, they're not investing in them anymore. But then part of the process, physically, we can distance ourselves from people and move away from people. But emotionally, for the people who did emotionally invest in other people, it can take some time to work through that because it's confusing. If you did believe a person seemed to be a certain way, and then they don't seem to be that way, well, you certainly don't want to get out of that relationship, go get in another one, and have the same thing happen again. So it's kind of like looking at what didn't I see? And part of it could have been we did kind of get caught up in people. The idea of love, wanting to be in love, wanting to be in friendship or relationship, shadowy energy can be where we have some inner conflict about seeing the truth. And we don't want to see the truth because we want to be in the friendship or the relationship. So, oh, no, I'm sure it'll all be fine. Let's just keep moving forward with it. And then we can indulge kind of poor behavior in ourselves or in others because we want, those things that we want in the world. Again, we want to be in friendship or relationship or a job, and we keep staying in it. And so that's when people kind of realize that, well, for one, if I used to be more manipulated in my passionate nature, being attracted to someone, my want for friendship or relationship, I need to cool my jets on that. And now that I've learned the truth, not everybody's motivated by love. Not everybody's just and fair. Some people are quite immature. Some people are quite defensive, bossy, competitive, prideful, whatever. I need to now, be willing to get to know people, but know my truth, stand up for my philosophy of life, and if I want to be in more deep, meaningful relationships, then I need to stand up for that. And as I meet people, and if they seem maybe more not really motivated by love, might want to indulge in a relationship or a friendship, or try to use their status or image more to be what's supposed to get me to get in a relationship or friendship with them. But maybe aren't very loving. Well, Scorpio talks about I'm this emotionally complex human being who does get myself emotionally invested in people. Why would I get myself tangled up in someone like that? Or if by just watching and observing some people, I see they kind of do these immature things, or they're defensive, or they're full of themselves, or they're stubborn or prideful, or lack insight and self awareness. I'm not going to go get myself messed up with people like that because I've already been in relationships with people like that. Now, can I be friends with people? Yes. Some of those people who would maybe like to indulge in a friendship or relationship with you could be a little bothered, like, why aren't you coming to try to be in a relationship with me? And it's like, I am getting to know you. What more did you expect me to do? But again, some people, whether they're male or female, could be kind of used to people maybe chasing after them or something, or fawning over them, and it's like, yeah, no, I'm sure there's maybe enough other people to do that, so I'll let them do that. And if that's the kind of person that you are and that's the kind of relationship you want, I'm not your guy, I'm not your gal. And we'll just keep moving forward. You could be in my neighborhood, my workplace, my family, someone new to a social group. I'm just going to keep moving forward in my truth and treat other people the way I like to be treated, but you do you, I'll do me, and maybe eventually I'll just focus more of my attention on people who don't seem to harness these energies in a more shadowy way. As you're moving forward, other people, depending on where you're at, some people like you are kind of ahead of you on this journey of life, and they've been waiting for someone like you to come up the path of life. Well, as you get to know each other, maybe as friends, you'll get to know each other and see if you seem to kind of have similar interests, have similar ideas, motivated and inspired by similar things. The Knight of Swords is kind of sent by the King and Queen of Swords. What's your idea of the dream life and relationship? What do you think is just and fair? And as you could work with those people, again, it can be different people that you meet, in the world, all sorts of people. Some of those people will be people you will invest in and keep moving forward with. Some of those people, they might decide, yeah, no, we're not on the same page. And you, in turn, with them might be like, yeah, I don't think we're on the same page. And, you kind of go your separate ways. Can you still work together? Yeah, But with some of the people, there is no like romantic interest. With other people, there could be. Um, and then as you're moving forward, other people can see you moving forward and you're over here. And then those people have to think about, however and whoever they might be aligning with in their life, is that their truth? Or do you seem to represent more their truth? Um, and do this work within themselves to love and believe in themselves. And if they know you're someone who isn't going to kind of put up with someone who is more immature or more about the world or more about themselves or doesn't want to do love, I mean, some of them might give it a try anyway. Whenever you're living your life, there's always going to be shadowy people that, hell, who knows? Maybe I can be the next shadowy person they indulge in a relationship, you know? And there's always going to be shadowy people who will try to be that next person in your life. And I think you've just learned to stand up for yourself and feel stable and grounded within yourself and these lessons that you've learned in life. It's like, I don't want to repeat some old pattern. If I had previously gotten in relationships because I was more young, more immature, was more codependent, whatever. That's not the truth of who I am anymore. The King of Wands is the highest, what do they call it? Like face card on the table. This is like minor arcana. These were minor arcana with the star card, like people on their journey trying to learn lessons in life. And then as people are on that journey, people have that free will nature to decide, you know, at any stage, am I going to keep healing and growing and maturing myself? Detach, am I more immature, worldly, egoic, or defensive nature, or prideful nature, or whatever? Or am I not? And it's just kind of seeing where different people are. But I think the high vibe people have learned to stand up for themselves. They don't want to repeat an old pattern. They want to be in relationships with people who have some self-awareness and self-insight. And if they're not, they could, and you could shine very bright in the world and fire sign energy, seem very stable and abundant in a lot of ways in your life, from being loving to being grounded to being practical to having, unique talent, skills, or interest, or education and things that you've invested in, or your career. And other people can see that. And for that reason, some people, you know, it's just to want to indulge in it. Um, and some people might like to be in a relationship with someone who's more mature than the people they've been in a relationship with, but we can get kind of in those relationships and it takes work. Everybody has to be willing to love themselves, believe in themselves, be just and fair, act with character and integrity. And sometimes some people think they want that, but then they kind of get conflicted emotionally. Like, again, well, this requires me to put more work and effort to heal and grow and mature myself. I could go do this and I could get in relationships with people who are maybe feel left out in the cold or don't know the truth of who I am or might be sad, who might be willing to more indulge me. Well, let somebody go indulge them. If that's what they're looking for, that's not what high vibe people are looking for. And so high vibe people could have a problem finding people who their kind of crux is finding people who are more inspired by truth and love because they're kind of so caught up in these other things that high vibe people could have. And then shadowy people who might have these certain things or attributes about them, not really self awareness, self insight, or love. They could have people. It's just kind of crazy how it works. It's like the opposite. Shadowy people could end up having more loving people come into their life because I think it's about the extremes trying to find balance. So it all serves a higher purpose, but eventually, if we keep, when we see something is not aligned with our truth and we've been loving and encouraging and supportive to people and it still doesn't seem to be moving forward that way, to accept the truth of it, get out of our ego about it, and move on. And I think eventually we kind of end up meeting people that are more aligned with our truth. So it kind of makes me think sometimes when we go out in the world, we can get in extremes like, the good girl with the bad boy or the good boy with the bad girl in a way, because it's these extremes to help us get more and more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't, and to love and appreciate ourselves enough to stand up for our truth, whatever it is, to live our more authentic life. And that's high vibe Leo. If you're more about the things of the world, then be authentic. Make your life. No apologies. Yeah, I'm really motivated and driven by these things. And, that way other people aren't confused about the truth of who you are. It's when people try to create an illusion about who they are, they get in a more mismatched relationship, and that's not their truth and it's not the other people's truth. And then it just doesn't end well. Everybody's gets in these more mismatched relationships where each other's truth isn't the truth of the other person. I just don't think the loving people are the ones creating the illusion. I think it's the shadowy people who are creating the illusion. And as long as they keep doing that, eventually high vibe people can buy into the illusion of who they are, but eventually they kind of see the truth and they're not willing to sacrifice truth and love and deep, meaningful relationships for those things of the world. And the shadowy people think they will because they do. And even if the high vibe people know they're in a relationship with someone who's more immature, more about themselves, more about things they want to indulge in or make their life about, they keep hoping they'll change. And eventually they see that they're not. And then, the shuffleboard of the puzzle pieces get shook up, because God ultimately, you could look at as the King of Wands, is wanting kind of things to be just and fair. Loving people have to accept the truth that there's people in the world that are more shadowy. And they do try to manipulate people to get them in relationships with them and tempt them more by these things of the world. And if you know that isn't more what tempts you, quit getting in relationships, be more tempted by those things, and listen and be inspired to listen to the lessons that you've learned and to listen to your intuition as you get to know people. And when you see people do not seem to have the same truth as you have, don't get more involved in a relationship, or you kind of get yourself tangled up in a more mismatched relationship. What's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Leo energy, who are moving forward with the people in their life who are more seeming to be motivated and inspired by the same things they are, putting in work and effort, being inspired to put in work and effort, inspired to want to keep growing and healing and maturing themselves, keep focused on the big picture. What's coming up they don't see coming? The Six of Cups, the King of Pentacles, and the Four of Pentacles. And the reason is because of the Chariot, which is Cancer energy about love. Because the high vibe people are motivated and inspired by love, they want to feel balanced within themselves, so they invest in themselves to love themselves, to get more balance within themselves. They work through their own emotional confusion, their own lack mentality, their more codependent nature, their more competitive, prideful nature, their past pain, heartbreak, all that good stuff. And they end up feeling more stable and grounded within themselves, and they're not more codependent on other people to invest in them or look to things in the world to be the answer. They have learned that the answer is love. I need to love myself. I need to reconcile myself. The Six of Cups in Scorpio, like the Seven of Cups over here. I need, and in high vibe, the King of Pentacles. The one pentacle can be about truth. We've went within, we've done that work, we've come out with the truth. That's our Virgo nature, goes within to get the truth. And then I view the King of Pentacles as Capricorn energy, and shadowy Capricorn's the devil. I went within to deal with the truth. I accepted the truth. I reconciled myself with some issues from the past. I accept the truth of it. Everybody was where they were at. I can only take responsibility for me. Other people have to take responsibility for themselves. And I don't want to repeat past patterns, is what the Six of Cups can talk about. If I've offered truth and love to people to move forward with me, and they want to keep repeating that pattern, they're basically in the Four of Pentacles trying to stop me from moving forward. They want to keep repeating this pattern, but it's like, I've already learned what I needed to learn there, and if you haven't learned what you needed to learn there to move forward, then I am going to move forward without you. And then we have the 1 plus the 4 making the 5, which is detaching from the Four of Pentacles. I have seen the truth of a way of living life that I have inner conflict of continuing to invest in, because it doesn't move forward, and I am ready to move forward. And if other people aren't ready to move forward, it can take years and decades to learn some of these lessons. And some of the people some people could be different ages in life. Some people are the same age. But regardless, everybody can be at different emotional maturity levels. I am ready to give birth to something new. And if they're not, they're not. But I'm not going to stay stuck repeating an old cycle with them. I mean, that would be like if someone, if you just use it as a comparison, if someone had the emotional maturity level of like a 21-year-old, and you had the emotional maturity of like a 35-year-old, would you want to keep still living the life like a 21-year-old? It's like, I've already been there and I've done that. I'm ready to move forward. I did learn the lesson I needed to learn there. And again, we can sometimes do that work within ourselves to work through some of those issues that manipulate us while we're in workplaces, friendships, and relationships with people. But the other people were defensive to doing that. It's just kind of like, what are you doing back there? Come on, let's go. And it's like, well, I'm working through these things. And then when you come out on the other side, you harness these energies differently than them. And then they're like, what the hell? What did you do? You seem different. When we first got in the friendship or the relationship, or you started this job, you were kind of over here. And it's like, I know. And then I kind of got inspired within myself to do some inner work to work through all these issues. And now I'm over here. Let's go. And they're like, well, no, I didn't want to move forward like that. I didn't mind you healing or growing, maturing yourself somewhat, but I didn't think you were going to invest in learning to love yourself. If I'm going to move forward with you, then I would have to do that. I didn't think you were going to get more balanced within yourself, because in order to move forward with you, I'd have to get more balanced within myself. And that's when some of those people are like, no, you can go. I'll go find someone else. And basically, they'll repeat this pattern with someone else because they maybe never intended to change. They have their way of living life and viewing life and what motivates and inspires them. They're looking to be in a friendship or relationship, and they assume other people think like they think. But other people over time work through some of these issues that manipulate them, and they're not the same person that they were. And they're ready to move forward differently. And I think as you're moving forward in that way, investing in yourself, loving yourself, not in the Four of Pentacles, I'm not going to repeat this old pattern. If I had certain ways of living life or viewing life or thoughts or emotions I used to sit in, high vibe Leo, I've learned to be a loving and encouraging and supportive person to myself. And I have the free will, and I choose to be inspired to look at life from a higher perspective, to high vibe Virgo, know my worth and value, love myself, invest in me, invest in my unique talent, skills, and interest, my career, invest in people in my life and hold on to the people in my life who do work together with me in that way, and value and appreciate those people, and maybe move away from the people who didn't seem to equally want to hold on to me and work together with me in this way. Might want to come with, but wanting to hold back from the truth and from love, maybe be in it more for the status and the ego and the image. And it's like, no, that's not why I want to be in it. And so then they'll go to try to find someone else. And I think there's other people in the world that don't want to do a more emotionally balanced, authentic, like loving relationship. And so they'll go repeat this pattern. But there's going to be other people who do. No matter what, you are going to move forward looking, the Chariot can talk about looking victorious and successful and very stable and abundant and, again, kind of shining bright because you know your worth and value. And if you are in job, friendships, or relationships, being very victorious and successful in them. And if you're not in a romantic relationship, you could, if there's no one in your environment to be in that kind of relationship with, you're not going to get in a relationship just to indulge in a relationship. It's not the truth of who you are. You'll invest in other things in your life, and friends and family, and if you have children, or all the other things that are part of enjoying your life. Where the other people, it's like, we can all want these things in the world, but some people it's just to indulge themselves in a relationship. And then they can get themselves tangled up in a relationship. And then what if someone comes along who is someone they'd really like to be in a relationship? Then it's like, well, gee, I created this illusion that this was my dream life, and look how wonderful our life is. And, and they could have just been indulging it with someone that they don't love, maybe for some of them, but it looked good by worldly standards, looked like they had it going on. Well, then, because of the world and the ego and the image of it, they could have a hard time getting out of it and standing up for themselves and their truth, because then, people would judge them. So why get yourself involved in things you shouldn't get in to begin with? And the people who didn't, when they meet someone who's kind of on the same page as them, they can move forward and get in relationships with those people because they didn't get themselves tangled up in something they shouldn't have gotten tangled up with to begin with. So what's coming up for some people who harness some more worldly, shadowy Leo energy that they might not see coming up for them? The King of Wands. Why? Because of the Fool card. Well, the shadowy people kind of keep in shadowy and the Fool. They keep turning their back to seeing the truth and doing this inner work, probably because they don't think they have to. In our pride and ego, our Leo nature, we can all decide, I don't have to deal with that stuff. Could they have a lack mentality? Could they have illusions about what it means to be in a relationship? Could they have some inner conflict they don't deal with? Could they be in their ego? Could they be in competitive energy? Have they not learned to love themselves? Are they still in their ego and confused about why other people aren't in a relationship? Well, how about you take some time to invest some time, energy, and effort to look at those things, see the truth maybe about some of the people who left. Take their inventory. Were they just, fair, loving, and encouraging, supportive? Why didn't you keep moving forward in a relationship with them? If it wasn't your truth, you weren't on the same page, maybe a lack of attraction, could have been a great person, you didn't love them, then it is what it is. Were some of those people shadowy? Well, then quit getting in relationships with other people who have some of those traits and characteristics. But some people they keep, and some of them they just want to indulge in a relationship. This is too much work and effort. Oh, you require me to be too just and fair or loving. I'm just going to go indulge in something, male or female. I don't want to have to put in work and effort. Oh, I'll go find someone who feels left out in the cold and might have inner conflict about believing their dreams will come in reality. Who's sad? I'll go tell them I'll work together with them. They might think I'm like God's gift. And then those people will get in a relationship and those people will have to decide if they think they are or not. With some of the people you were in a relationship with that you wanted to move away from them. That doesn't mean they won't be someone else's cup of tea. But they weren't your cup of tea. Odds are, the more shadowy, immature, defensive, prideful, bossy, controlling people are, the more they're going to keep being like that. Odds are. It's the people who kind of had a willing spirit within them to begin with, who weren't quite that shadowy, who are people in the world who have hope, just like the rest of us, to change. I mean, the other people could change too. It could just take a lot longer because all those lessons we've all had to learn in life, some people have not learned them because they kind of keep indulging themselves. And because of that, the more high vibrational people in their life see the truth and they're going to take that leap of faith to love and believe in themselves, to tell these people they're not going to keep investing in them and they're going to go do what the other high vibe people have done in the world. And when those people go do that, they could be shocked that these people did this work to work through the issues that manipulate them because they never do it. And they're like, that's too much work and effort. Let's just go do this. And they just go find someone else to do that with. And ultimately, they'll be surrounded with other people who are probably happy they're like that because so are they. And they might have to get in a relationship with someone else who kind of either has a lack mentality or competitive or prideful or full of themselves or wants to be indulged, doesn't really want to do love, takes some foolish risks in a relationship. and plays on other people's want for these things of the world, or just to be in a relationship, to be in a relationship, to not have to go find a different job, friendship, or relationship, or whatever it is. And there'll be other people who'll stay in it, who won't want to get out of it, just like they want to stay in them and not get out of them. So long as people, we don't do anything different. Let's just keep repeating this old pattern. Let's never give birth to anything new. And the other people are going to have a brand new beginning. They get to move on to the next level of the video game of life to learn more lessons. So there you go, Leo. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.